2 Corinthians, 4th chapter, 15th verse is our key for this morning. All things are for your good. All things are for your good, that the abundant grace might, through the thanksgiving of others, connect to the glory of God, that it might create or shine to the glory of God. And if you look at 16, it says, for this cause we faint not. For this cause we faint not. In the words of a seminary friend of mine, every time my file is pulled by the clerk of court called the devil, in the courtroom of judgment for the deeds I have done and what I have not done, when the judge is presented with my folder and my docket number, he looks at my folder and files it and says, next case, because stamped on my folder in red letters for the blood of Christ is written grace case. And maybe somebody else knows that about your situation in your life, that you are a grace case. That if it had not been for the grace of God, you would not be here. Do I have a witness in here that can say, in the courtroom of my life, I've been a grace case. No witnesses necessary. No attorney needed to plead my case. No jury of my peers, because the judge has filed me as a grace case. And I thank God that grace suits my case. Anybody in here feels like that? Because it had not been for grace, I would be sentenced to life or death. Is there anybody that thanks God that grace has kept them, covered them, and grace keeps them right now? For all things are for your sakes. I came to preach quickly. Come on, get on board with the train. That the abundant grace might, through thanksgiving of many, contribute greatly to the glory of God. So I want to tag for this sermon a grace case. Now, what I'm doing in preaching is a look at what Jesus said. That's the philosophical, and that has power and meaning. But what was said, but even more important, it is psychological. Why is Jesus saying something? When we look at what Paul has written, it comes out of something Jesus said. And when we look in the Word, it's about why it's said for our situation. Then we look at our own deficiency. And how does this word help me? How does this word encourage me? How does this word help me on my journey? He says something that relates to the present and the presence of situations in life. And he tosses us into the future. And he is literally saying that there is something that's going to happen that is going to completely negate what you're dealing with right now or what you've gone through. He says that if you don't lose heart, though outwardly we're wasting away, inwardly we're being renewed day by day, and our light affliction and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that outweighs anything that we've had to deal with. In order for you to grasp the power of what is going to happen to you, you have to be able to get through what you're dealing with right now. So he takes me in my present and gives me a vision of something that he is working out for my future. He says to me that what you are going through right now is a part of the process of getting you to where I want you to be. And see, this is a reiterated theme in sermons because many of us never strive for where God really wants us to be. We strive for where we want to be. Oh, God, help me here. Then he has taken me psychologically and he has identified me with what is he getting ready to do in my life. I'm to take that bit of medicine that he gives in this text and massage my mind with the medicine and deal with what I'm dealing with in front of me and not lose heart. He says, I'm saying this, so don't lose heart because things are going to happen. For all things are for your sake. You mean good, bad, all the other stuff is all for your sake. He says, so don't lose heart in what you're going through because it's going to work for a better circumstance. And that the abundant grace of God might, through thanksgiving of others, may redound the glory of God. Knowing that I'm dealing with something in front of me is not the way it will always be. See, when you understand faith, faith has a lot to do with self-identity and the power that ascribes a certain behavior. For which cause we faint not, though the outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. See, if I'm a child of God, I cannot deal with things. Better yet, I can't deal with folk. Or I can't deal with issues. I can't deal with circumstances like folk who don't know God would deal with them. If I say I'm a believer, then there comes a point that I have to show people that I do believe God and I don't have to act like everybody else. Because my expression in what I'm dealing with is not based on the impression of what I'm going through, but it's based on how much I trust God. Lord, help me in here. Whenever I'm at the point that I feel like I can't go on, when I'm ever at the point that I feel like I can't take another step, whenever I feel like my circumstances are too big for me, whenever I feel like I cannot overcome the present condition, in these things, I should not fall out. I should not faint over. Or these things should not cause me to faint because this stuff is only to display God's grace in my life. Okay, all right. See, hopelessness is whenever I get it to a place where I cannot control or project what a marvelous future I shall have. Whenever I get to a place that I'm looking for more trouble to come and not the positive, and I cannot think myself above what I'm going through, if I can't deal with those things and still remain calm and be the same person and not change because of my circumstances, not become ugly because of what's around me is ugly, not become nervous because I'm not so sure of how it's going to come out or turn out, and be still and identify with the power of God because I am a believer. See, a believer realizes that they are a grace case, and anybody else who's struggling is a grace case as well. And because I'm a grace case and nobody's judgment can be held over anybody, I refuse to be different than I'm supposed to be created by God because of circumstance. And if there are going to be any changes, it has to be me, it has to be God changes and not circumstance changes. And I want to talk to somebody in here, because if you can just get through this and not lose your mind, if you could just get through this and not want to jump over the edge, if you can just get through this and not want to kill somebody, or if you can just get through this and not want to take anything out, it's going to get better. That's what I'm trying to tell somebody. You're going to be better if it doesn't get better. It is critical because we have to understand that anytime you know yourself, you have to know yourself in light of who you identify with. But this is why, this is the why of what he's saying to us. I'm telling you this because you have the tendency to lose focus when things are not going the way you want. When people are frustrated, the first thing they want to do is quit. Just frustrated. You just throw your hands up, but you just throw in the towel. You're just done. Frustrated has a way of zapping your energy and taking your purpose from you. If you have this proclivity of focusing on your circumstances instead of keeping your eyes on the prize, what Satan will do is make a whole lot of things get in your way and have you fighting things around you instead of focusing on where you need to go. I know the enemy will have you in every little fight he will try to have you in, fighting this and fighting that, fighting to keep you off track. In actuality, the fight should be with the fight within yourself to keep from running to every fight that everybody calls you out to. Fight forward for your future and where God wants you to be and where God wants you to go. Then you have to tell the devil, get out of my face with your messy self. I don't deal with messy folk. Put him in his place. Matter of fact, if he's in your face, then you need to turn around, because that means you turn back to him, because his position is get ye behind me, Satan. For what's cause we faint not, though our outward man perish, inward man is renewed day by day. If he's in your face, stop turning around, because he's supposed to be behind you. That's his position. Now at times, in the present, we deal with discouragement. And there's something about discouragement, because sometimes when it hits you, you cannot put your hand on it. It's like, what is this feeling I have? Why am I feeling like this? God is never pleased with discouragement, because it gives the devil praise. See, anytime God is not getting praise, the devil is happy. And complaining makes the devil happy. What he wants to hear me say is something evil, cold, insensitive. That's what the devil wants. But there are times you are depressed and sitting around with pain and depression, and that only comes when you feel helpless and you feel like you can't do anything because you can't do anything about your circumstance. You know, there's a coin phrase that we've done. I've had church hurt. Church hurt. There's no such thing as church hurt. There's just hurt here, hurt there, hurt everywhere. There's hurt all the time. But I had church hurt. They talked about me, Rev, and they won't treat me right. Well, go anywhere. They don't treat folk right. They don't do the right thing. It's just a part of the world, because in this world, you're going to get hurt and have some pain sometimes. I know nobody told you that this road was going to be easy, but he promised that he'd never leave you nor forsake you. And see, did you hear me? That you feel helpless because you can't do anything about it. And when you can't do anything about it, you can always do something about everything. Because when you can't do anything with it, you know someone who can. Good God Almighty. Ladies and gentlemen, you should put your hands together, because you know someone who can handle your everything, your every problem. I'm talking about the one who has grace and mercy, who has power, who's marvelous. I'm not just going to sit here and fall apart. If I cry, I'm going to cry unto the Lord. And if the Lord sees my tears, he's getting ready to move on my behalf, because he understands me. All right, I got to help you. So Isaiah 66:1 says this. It says that the Lord says, heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house you will build for me? Where is my resting place? The heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. If I can imagine this, I might take my seat after this. If I can imagine this, then that means in heaven God is sitting with his feet on the earth. The only way my mama would wake us up and get us out of bed was she would come around to the foot of the bed, reach under the covers and take her nails, and she would tickle our feet. If she couldn't call us for us to get up, she would tickle our feet, and without hesitation, we would jump to the floor and we would be on our way because we didn't want mama to tickle our feet anymore. Can I tell you, every time you lift up your hands, every time you give God praise, if the earth is his footstool, somebody ought to be tickling his feet. And when you tickle his feet with your praise, I promise you he'll stand up for the throne. If he stands up on the throne, then he's going to do something about your situation. Somebody ought to lift up a hand and stand up in this place and say, excuse me while I tickle his feet, because I need him to rise up in my circumstance. I need him to rise up in my situation. I need him to stand up for my problems. I need him to stand up for my issues. So, it's God gives you the ability to praise. Don't waste it. Because a dog can bark only. A cat can meow only. And a cow can move only. A donkey can bray only. But you can create and call him the lily of the valley. You can create and call him the bright and morning star. You can create and call him Alpha and Omega. You can give him names whereby he puts him in a position that he's worthy of praise. When the devil is attacking you, he's still looking for your praise. When you lose your job, the Lord is still looking for your praise. He's still looking for your praise when things are happening in your family and family hurts. He's still looking for your praise when a door is closed because he'll open another door. He's still looking for your praise. And God will move things out of your way and let Satan know that you're not by yourself. But the Lord is with you. I feel the living God in this place. And so, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. In this text, God has taken you out of your present, and you have the ability to dream so that you can have the ability to hope. Hope is dreaming anytime you are a dreamer and you see yourself in another place. I don't care how rough it is now. It is not where I am, but it's where I'm going to be. I'm dreaming about where I'm going to be. I may not hit the Mega Millions or the Powerball, but I've been dreaming about what I'm going to ride in, what I'm going to live in, what I'm going to put on, and what I'm going to wear. Maybe it's not you. Okay, I dream like that. But you have to think like this. Maybe there's a time I was walking like Ike and Mike, but I see myself driving in that SUV. Right now, you might be by yourself right now, but you're dreaming of seeing yourself on your honeymoon. I'm sleeping on someone else's couch, but I see myself in my own bedroom with my own bedroom stuff. If you can imagine yourself, it starts with your mind. Keep the devil out of your mind. No devil will waste my time with keeping me in my mind. I'm going to trust God with what the future he has for me because I'm dreaming on big things and better things and greater things. I'm going to keep my mind staying on Jesus. Is there anybody in this place that I've been dreaming, I've been scheming on what my future's going to be, and it looks much brighter than what today has been and what my yesterdays have been. I'm moving toward what God has for me. Jesus said, if you hang out with me, you got to have my mind. I got a future for you. I got a future for you. And so, you can still lift him up. No matter what you're going through. It only gets better or you get better. That's the two options. God's plan for us is to know more than we knew before and to be better than what we were, because that's revelation on how powerful God is. And when you identify with that, God makes the devil mad. It makes the devil mad because, the devil is a spoiler. He likes to spoil what he cannot control. And when he can't control you and your emotions, then he's upset about it. And that's why things probably get worse before they get better sometimes in your life. Because he's trying to spoil you from having what God wants for your life. If these things are seen that seem great, then how much greater are the things that are not seen? Somebody will catch that after a while. Yeah. I'm going to my seat. You can't see it. But I was born with weak hands. I may not have ever told you, may not have ever said it, but when I was born, the doctor told my family the muscles and tendons in his hands did not develop as well as they should. I was born with weak hands. Well, when I was little, I would drop stuff a lot. I would drop stuff all the time. My grandfather would tell me and continue to tell me, boy, you got weak hands. You shouldn't even be carrying that stuff, because I would drop stuff. I would break stuff, heirlooms that they would give me to hold, and I would drop them. And I didn't want to drop them, but just my hands couldn't hold it. They were just weak. But my grandmother, she out of everybody, would still let me carry stuff. She would still let me carry stuff. There were times I didn't want to carry stuff, because I knew I was going to drop it. There was times that I would say somebody else carry it, because I knew I was going to drop it. Don't give it to me. I don't want to be responsible, because I'll get in trouble, because I knew I was going to drop it. But my grandmother kept putting stuff in my hands. She kept giving me stuff in my hand time after time. But my grandmother knew in time my hands would develop. But she later said that she let me keep carrying stuff, not to strengthen my hands, but she wanted to develop my mind, that I wouldn't be discouraged from ever carrying stuff. She said that when you were able to carry it, then you had the mind and confidence to carry it. Come here, let me bless you. God said, I keep giving you stuff after stuff, and I know it's a heavy load for you to carry, but if you keep on pressing, I'm trying to build the confidence in your mind that you can handle anything with God. Is there anybody in here saying, yeah, I'm a grace case, because he keeps putting it in my hand. He keeps asking me to run with it, and he's got a plan for my life, because God knows your end before you begin it. It's only going to get better. Do I have a witness in here? Look at somebody and tell them I'm a grace case. I don't know about you, but I thank God that he keeps allowing me to carry his grace, carry his mercy, carry his love. And every day of my life, I'm going to keep lifting my hands. You got to get through this. You got to get through this circumstance. You may not ever give over some stuff, but you can come through some stuff. Do I have a witness in here that it only gets better from this? You don't have to watch your back, because behind you, you got two people called grace and mercy, and they're going to cover you all the days of your life. Do I have a witness? Somebody ought to give God praise that God still trusts you, that God still bless you, that God still makes a way for you. You are a grace case. Look at your neighbor and say, I'm grateful for everything that God has done for me, because I'm a grace case. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. We sang and sang. Somebody look at themselves and say, a wretch like me, I once was lost, but thank God, by his grace, I'm found. Is there anybody that can declare, no matter what, I'm a grace case, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and God will supply all my needs according to his riches. I don't know about you, but I'm a grace case. When I thought of my story, being a child, I cried. I cried. I cried because you don't realize how much something hurt you until after you look back over it. Then I cried because of how much I had forgotten about it. From age 1 to 10, I didn't trust myself with holding stuff in my hand. From that time on, I didn't trust myself. And there were folk who loved me, who continued to tell me, you got weak hands, boy. But my grandmother saw what was not seen. It was unseen. She saw something more. Maybe she had an inkling then that I would carry this gospel. And so, you're a grace case. What has God given you to carry? There are times that you dropped it, fumbled it, but you're like, why does he keep putting this right in my lap? He says, because when you do have the physical ability, you already have the confidence ability that you're able to do it. Everybody standing on your feet today.